Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk.
What's up, everybody? Big Herc, Prison Talk, and you tuned in to another wig-splitting episode. Yeah, if you ain't subscribed, you can get your motherfucking wig split. Make sure you guys also check out the channel as far as our website, FreshOutSeries.com, and subscribe to our Instagram and Twitter, which is also FreshOutSeries. Had a question for one of our viewers. Hello, Big Herc. How often does one in prison have to stay in their cell? I know it differs from place to place. How often were you personally forced to be in a cell? Can you walk around for most part as you please? I really enjoy the show and admire what you're doing. Keep up the good work. Staying in your cell. Some places, shit, man, you might only get out, a couple hours a day. It depends. It depends if you're in transit. A lot of times when you're at a holding facility, you might be in a cell pretty much all day. You might get out for an hour or so for rec, but some places they bring the meals to your cell, so you don't leave the cell. And as far as you thinking you're gonna get out and walk around, nah, man. I mean, when they have rec time, you're able to get out and go work out or play basketball, maybe play handball, something like that. But yeah, when you first get locked up, if you're in a county facility, you're probably in a cell all day. You have to work out in the cell. Maybe when you're getting transferred, if you're at a place where they have a chow hall, then you might be able to leave the cell to go to the chow hall, but you're only out for X amount of minutes or X amount of time to shower, to try to make your phone call, to maybe try to cook you something with the hot water, and that's it. It's very limited. As far as getting to walk around and stuff like that, you don't have. It's not a country club, man. You're not walking around chilling and shit, man, and able to be mobile unless you're at somewhere where you actually been sentenced and you're at a designated facility. Like I said, if you're in transit, most of those places you don't get out that much, and you're very limited as far as rec time and time to kind of fraternize with other inmates. Once you get to, I guess, the pen, you could do whatever the fuck you want to do as far as your free time. You can walk the track, you can go work out, you can go to law library. You got options, but you're still fucking locked the fuck up. But you do have a little bit more wiggle room as far as your freedoms to move around and to be mobile. So it is a little bit different once you get to a designated facility as opposed to a trial facility or a holding facility where you're pretty much limited to the dorm you're in or to the cell you're in. So a typical day at let's say USP Lompoc, they crack the motherfucking cell doors at about 5 in the morning. Now they don't already crack them a little bit earlier than that for the guys who have to work in a chow hall. They might crack them for them at 4 in the morning or 4:30. So they're going to work. They crack the door for everybody else around 5 in the morning. At around 6 o'clock, they start letting units out for chow. So basically you got a penitentiary and it's got multiple units. And so each unit goes to chow individually, but all together. But they open each one up, they have different ones, depending on how each unit is ranked, because they do a ranking depending on how clean each unit is. They go around and do inspections, and whatever unit has the cleanest unit gets to go to chow first. So what that means is going to chow first means you have more time to eat. If you're the last unit, a lot of times you get in there and maybe the quality of the food might not be all that great because everybody else done got the good stuff, and on top of it you got to rush to eat because they're going to close the chow hall. So they let the units out, and all the units go to the chow hall. You go to the chow hall and You have designated areas where you can sit at. You can't just sit wherever the fuck you want. You got the white guys over here. You have maybe the Islanders over here. You have maybe the Norteños over here, Serranos over here, the Crips, the Bloods, the Vice Lords, the GDs, the Latin Kings. You have and maybe like miscellaneous, if you're not gang banging. And then they might have a few other little, factions in there. But so the Pisces, they got their own little area, or the Border Brothers, wherever the case may be. But everybody has their own area where they sit at. You're not just sitting wherever you want to sit. You sit at the wrong table, you get your motherfucking wig split. So you go to chow, come back, then they have work call. Work call, everybody go to work around 8 o'clock. So if you don't have work, you can go to the yard. Go to the yard, work out, and do whatever you do, or you go to a law library from like 8. So it's work call, and then you have from 8 till roughly around, 11 something. And then you come back, you get ready for chow. You come back to unit, you have maybe 45 minutes, and then they have lunchtime. So you have lunchtime. So the guys who eat first is the ones who work in the factories. The guys who work in the factories, the guys who have regular jobs, they go to the chow first, and then they go around and hit the units up. So the units go, then you see your partners in the chow hall, you eat lunch, they go back to work, you go back to the unit, and then you go and do whatever the second part of your day is. If you have a job later on in the afternoon, you go do your job, or you go to the yard, or you go and to law library, or whatever you do. After that, everybody brings it in, roughly around, probably 3 o'clock. So 3 o'clock, work is over. They bring everybody to unit. They do a count. And they actually, I think they do a count. I don't know if they do a count earlier, but I know they do a count. They do a count right before lunch, and then they do a count right before dinner. So when you come back for dinner, you do a count and stand-up count, and then after that, you open the cells, and then you guys get ready for a dinner. You go to dinner, dinner's over with, you come back, you go watch TV, you go to the yard, go play basketball, go do what the fuck you want to do. And then they have recall, which is probably about 8 o'clock. They close the yard, you come back, the yard, everything's closed, and go back to unit, you shower, do all your shit, and they usually lock it down around 9 something. I think it's 9:30, something like that, they lock down. That's your typical day, weekday. Basically, it's similar on the weekends, except for you ain't got to go to work, but you got the counts. They do counts multiple times throughout the day, and you kind of just go with your little program, and that's Long Park USP.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in. Exclusively at FreshOutSeries.com.